Hi friends, it's Madame Fromage, and today I want to talk to you about a great melting cheese called raclette. Raclette is both the name of a cheese and the name of a party. If you've never had or been invited to a raclette dinner party, I'm going to show you how to do one right now. I'm also going to tell you what this cheese pairs with, all the things that you can put with it for a special dinner, and of course what to know before you go to the store. So I'm using a little tabletop raclette oven that's actually lit by candles, and that's going to create the heat to melt this cheese. I'm simply going to drop the cheese right on top, and it's going to melt, and then I'm going to pour it over hot boiled new potatoes and serve it with pickles. You can tell that a cheese is a great melter, first of all, when it's very elastic. In other words, it bends without breaking. Any cheese that crumbles or falls apart when you give it a little push is probably not going to be a cheese that melts so well. So just remember, cheeses that are elastic melt really well. So I've got my raclette maker going. This is probably going to take 3 to 4 minutes to melt. If you are doing this for a party, which is how I used to do this when I was growing up with my Swiss grandparents, I also have a Swiss tabletop raclette oven that has these individual pans. You simply plug this into an outlet, pop these underneath, and the nice thing is that the cheese broils. Now, my grandparents, who were from Geneva and immigrated to Cleveland, always hosted raclette parties in the winter for their friends. And it reminded them of going up into the Alps, renting a chalet where you would ski or snowshoe all day. And then in the evenings, to stay warm, you would sit by the fire and you would toast your raclette. You would literally put it up by the fire, and then as the cheese melted, you would scrape it onto dishes of potatoes. Raclette literally means in French to scrape. Racler is the French verb for to scrape. Now, it's become easier and more convenient to do the tabletop method, and when we were kids, they would put this in the middle of the table. The adults would drink, we'd play cards, candles would be lit. We would sit around for about 3 hours making these little dishes of hot raclette, eating them with potatoes, cured meats like prosciutto or speck, and of course there would be a lot of Swiss chocolate for dessert. When you go shopping for raclette, there's a couple things to know. First of all, it's a style of cheese known as a wash rind. It has this ruddy orange rind. It is a little bit funky. I think it smells a little bit like roasted garlic and onions. That smell does diminish when you heat the cheese, so it smells a little funkier than it actually tastes. Raclette is made in Switzerland and in France traditionally. You can find American makers making raclette style cheeses, but true raclette originates in Switzerland. It is a name protected cheese as Raclette du Valais, V-A-L-A-I-S. So if you want to try the heritage raclette made from raw milk just from the villages within the canton or state of Valais and one little area around Bern, look for Raclette du Valais. Otherwise, you'll also find great versions made from other areas of Switzerland and in France. I encourage you to try both. Get the original Raclette du Valais from Switzerland. You could also try the French version and see if you notice a difference. Bottom line, this is a cheese that just melts so well, and it fills your kitchen with the aroma of roasting onions, butter, and as you boil potatoes, get out your pickles, it all just becomes this wonderful little feast that you can neatly pull together from your pantry. That's one of the joys of raclette, is that it's a very easy meal to put together quickly. It doesn't require much other than boiling potatoes, and then you have in your pantry hopefully some pickles. My grandmother always served baby corn, pickled baby corn, pearl onions, and cornichon, and then a little bit of prosciutto or speck. Sometimes we would roast sausages on top of the grill, peppers and onions too. But the traditional meal is supposed to be just very basic: melted cheese, onions, potatoes. So you can see this is starting to melt and soften. You do keep the rind on this cheese. It is a little bit gritty from the wash, which is just a brine solution typically. And I think that's part of the pleasure of raclette, is that the cheese has this sort of like crispy bacony edge, the rind. And I like to put this on potatoes and then add just a crank of pepper. While this is finishing, it's bubbling and it is smelling so good. Let me just tell you about some pairings. Traditionally, people would pair a, could be a Swiss white or something like a dry Riesling with raclette. You could also go into a lighter, fruitier red, like a Beaujolais is wonderful. I also love a hot toddy or a hot mulled wine with this dish. You can certainly do beer, just like a Pilsner, it can be wonderful, or a nut brown ale. But if it's, you know, cold weather like it is right now, raclette is supposed to be very warming, and I also love to have something warm to drink along with it. Even a cup of tea is really nice. So this looks about ready. I've got some potatoes here, and again, the idea is to eat small amounts of this over a long period of time and just enjoy it and warm up. So when you're ready, you simply take this off the pan, and I have to say, this is an amazing little tool to take with you to hotels. I've often made a little hotel dinner for myself. Oh my gosh, this looks incredible. Out of just a little candlelit raclette maker. This particular one is made by Bosca, the company Bosca. If you're looking for it, it's known as a partyclette. I think it's perfect for the pandemic if you're holed up with just one or two people and you want to make yourself a little raclette dinner. Break out the cards, make yourself a hot toddy, get some Swiss chocolate, and just play like you are up in the Alps after a day of skiing or snowshoeing, enjoying a hot traditional cheese that is also a dish. Friends, sending you warmth, sending you sunshine, sending you hot melted cheese from my kitchen in Philadelphia to yours. I hope you get to have a little raclette dinner party this winter. Cheers.